It is important as we begin to approach Van Til's Trinitarian theology in this module that we allow Van Til himself, through the primary sources, to instruct us regarding his doctrine of the Trinity. This is so for at least two important reasons. First, misunderstandings of Cornelius Van Til's theology abound. Whether it be the work of the De Boers in the 50s, John Vanderstelt in the 70s, R.C. Sproul and John Gershner in the 80s and 90s, or John Fesco and Keith Matheson in the past few years, there are fundamental misunderstandings of Van Til's theology. And these misunderstandings rest in large part on a lack of careful exposition and sympathetic understanding of Van Til's work. As Christian scholars, we need to do our best to understand any theologian on his own terms and in light of the primary sources that best express his thought on a given matter. And this leads to my second point, closely related to the first. In Van Til's case, we need to understand Van Til's Trinitarian formulae in light of his published corpus and against the backdrop of the issues that he was dealing with in his own immediate context. This means that we need to be guided by a proper understanding of Van Til through a sympathetic and critical examination of his primary works on this topic. By sympathetic, I mean that we need to try to understand Van Til's own language and theological formulae in the way he intended to be understood. That is, as a confessionally reformed theologian, seeking to express a robust Trinitarian theology in the service and development of a reformed apologetic. And by critical, I mean that we need to be willing, where necessary, to subject Van Til himself to criticism and refinement. Certainly, all of us can speak with greater dogmatic precision and achieve greater theological clarity on any given topic. Van Til is no exception to that. Thus, we should not have an a priori blindly to defend Van Til simply because Van Til said it. Nor, on the other side, should we have an a priori simply to disagree with Van Til because Van Til said it. In short, we should not engage in a wholesale rejection of Van Til on the one hand, nor should we engage in idealized hagiography of Van Til on the other side. We need sincere engagement, careful analysis, and scholarly engagement of his theology. And that's what this module aims to embody. Now, the topic that's before us as we begin is the context, the constructive reformed context for the development of Van Til's Trinitarian theology. And we cannot come close to saying everything that needs to be said in this lecture, but we need to make initial steps forward in understanding what are the theological constructions behind Van Til's dogmatic formulations. And the most extensive place and intensive place that Van Til engages this topic of Trinitarian theology is in chapter 17 of his Introduction to Systematic Theology. In that section, you find the fundamental structural strands of Van Til's Trinitarian theology. So let us take some time to examine that chapter in some considerable detail and look at the doctrinal affirmations that Van Til sets forward and the structural significance of his doctrine of the Trinity. And we can start by saying that when Van Til himself formulates his dogmatic theology, it would be, put most basically, a confessional, reformed Trinitarianism. A confessional, reformed Trinitarianism that's going to have two fundamental expressions.